My name is Scott Ainslie, and I have a homemade cigar box guitar. This one is made by Ashton Cigars. They're supposed to be good cigars. I don't know. I can store things in it. Very handy. And the neck of mine is actually a pool cue, so I can take it apart and fly with it. It's a modern adaptation. And it must be said that cigars are bad for you, but cigar boxes are good. It's a conundrum. Now, I learned about these instruments from older black players in North Carolina, mostly men born between 1900 and 1930, who I got to in the late 1980s and early 90s. And when I asked these guys, you know, what'd you play first when you were a kid? Many of them, I thought they might have played a mandolin or fiddle or harmonica or guitar. And 9 out of 10 of these guys said they played a cigar box guitar, and I started asking questions about them. I'd never seen the instrument before or heard of them. And they said, you know, basically take a cigar box, you drill a hole in one side, and you run a stick through it, often a mop handle or a broken broom handle. And you take the wire off the bottom of the broom and throw the straw away. That's the best string on the farm, that wire that wraps the straw at the bottom of a store-bought broom, because it's thin and it has a high tensile strength, so it doesn't keep stretching. Fencing wire will stretch forever, as anybody who's put up a wire fence will know. So you take that wire off the broom and you use the broomstick, and your mother comes home and finds a pile of straw in the front yard and grabs a piece of firewood and comes looking for you because you've torn up one of her store-bought brooms. So, but the old guy said they'll only beat you once. You know, the first time you play it, it's going to hurt, and then after that, they're not going to beat you the next time you play it. So the first playing is painful, and after that, it's yours. So you have to wreck something to have something in their world. Now I'd never heard one played when I started learning to play one. So what I do with these is to set up a rhythm. I play down with my thumb and up with my fingers. I wear finger picks because that's how I play guitar. And just set up a rhythm and a drone on an open string that I want to play, in the key in which I want to play. And then I also pluck it with my left hand in a slightly different rhythm, but they're related. So you have one rhythm in the right hand and one in the left, and you get. Part of this is stopping the noise, and part of it's double plucking the string. So you get a really percussive, multiple rhythmed sort of thing. And then you use a slide to... Now, on mine, I've marked little indentations and taking a big pen, very high tech, to color them so that I can see where the octave is when you divide a string in half. When you divide a string length in thirds, the vibrating length in thirds, you get the 5th note of the scale. When you divide it in quarters, you get the 4th note of the scale. And then I've gone back and by ear marked the flat 3rd and the flat 7th of the scale. And I've got the flat 3rd up here above as well. So what I have marked out on here is for playing blues, and it's a minor pentatonic scale, which is a scale that comes out of Africa. Well, I rolled in a tumble, I cried the whole night long. Yes, I rolled in a tumble, I cried the whole night long. When I woke up this morning, my biscuit roller gone. Well, I went to the mountain and burned my eyes to see. Yes, I went to the mountain and burned my eyes to see. Some other man got my woman and these lonesome blues got me. I fold my arms and I slowly walk away. Yes, I fold my arms and I slowly walk away. Said to myself, your trouble gonna come someday. Run here, baby, sit down on my knee. Said, run here, baby, sit down on my knee. I wanna tell you all about the way they treated me. So, these go by a lot of names across the Black South. They're called jitterbugs in Mississippi, probably named after the dance, not the other way around, or a picktar, a one-string, a cigar box guitar. In Georgia, they go by a very special name handed me by a 70-year-old guy after a performance there. An old black man came down after a performance and shook my hand and wouldn't let go. And after a long period of shaking hands and me talking, I finally just stand there holding hands with him and waiting for what was going to happen next. And he said, we didn't call him one strings down here. He knew this instrument from his own experience. I said, what'd you call him? I'm collecting names for these. And he says, we call him a Diddley Bow. Diddley Bow. I went like, oh man, thanks. And he shook my hand really hard and he said, get it right. He didn't have to say white boy, I knew that part. So putting the sound equipment in the car that night, I thought, wait a minute, Georgia, Diddley Bow. Turn the two words around, you get Bo Diddley, who a few years later admitted in Rolling Stone that, of course, he was named after the instrument, you know, Bo Diddley. Didn't you white people know that? Anyway, very funny. So when you take the rhythms that Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley were playing, they come very readily off instruments like this. And sometimes these instruments were built on the sides of houses with great long pieces of fencing wire, very, very low notes. So you take these rhythms and transpose them down a couple of octaves and you get, it's like da 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 da. And there's a guy in Florida who had a portable house-sized Diddley Bow. He took a hollow core door with him to the party because it's rude to pound nails in the house of your host. So rather than rig one up there, his solution was a hollow core door. Very cool stuff. But when you take those rhythms and then you throw a little rock and roll into it, you get Bo Diddley, where you been? Round the corner and back up. And this is where this muting here becomes really important because it just stops the note and throws all the energy up in the air. And a rattlesnake for a necktie. Rock and roll starts right here. So this is one of the Ships of the Sea Diddley Bows, very, very, very famous cigar box guitar. And these are the kinds of instruments that Tony's been building with adult participants and with kids. It looks like a carriage bolt for a bridge. And it's got 3 strings. You're halfway to having a guitar. And he's actually cut it so you could fret this thing. And we've tuned it sort of like a dulcimer. It's a G, D, G tuning. And I'm fairly new to this, but like very close to rock and roll. I can't get the rolling and tumbling blues out of my head. Give me a second. I woke up this morning, feel around for my shoes, know by that I got these walking blues. Up this morning, feel around all for my shoes. Well, you know by that I got these walking blues. Keep your lamp trimmed and burning, your lamp trimmed and burning, your lamp trimmed and burning. See what the Lord has done. Sister, don't get worried, you don't get worried, you don't get worried. See what the Lord has done. Ain't gonna tell nobody, gonna tell nobody, gonna tell nobody what the Lord has done for me. Keep your lamp trimmed and your lamp trimmed and your lamp trimmed and well, yes, see what the Lord has done.